Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you guys are having a great Monday. So the weekend's done and over with. I hope you guys had a great weekend, and we have some stories to cover, but we also take a look at the miners and the markets, see what's going on there. So the markets were a little bit mixed today. The Bitcoin was down, Ethereum was down. Miners were kind of mixed as well today. We got some good news for one of the companies at least. And then we have a couple of stories, well, one story to really talk about, which is Bitfarms receives permit to power up 100 megawatts in Argentina. So that's great news there for them. And we also have a couple of things to go over here. So we're going to go over Argo blockchain with the new dashboard that I have created for these. So that one's been updated. We also updated Bit Digital here today. And then we're also going to take a look at the break even for the miners as far as Q4 numbers of results. Where would Bitcoin have to be for them to break even? And then also for possibly Q1, which is now ended in March. So we'll take a look at those numbers and where things stack up for all these miners here, okay? But as always, you guys know the drill here. This is not financial advice, for entertainment only. Please do your own research, and I'm invested in following coins and companies for full disclosure. And if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously as always. All right, so let's get into the markets here, see what's going on here. The markets right now were, like I said, mixed a little bit. S&P was up just barely 0.09% to 4,137. Dow Jones was up 0.2% to 33,875. And the NASDAQ was down 0.24% to 12,969. Bitcoin was down also today. It is, well, we got 35 seconds left in the day so far, but it's looking like it's still holding above our support line, which is the 50-day moving average, which is the light blue line here. We've been bouncing off of that here, but it's right now down about 0.31% to 27,508. Not much going on there right now. We did go below the line here, but we bounced back up above it. Might be a good sign, but the more times we touch this support line, the more likelihood there is a chance of us possibly falling below it. Okay, so right now we're not having any kind of a movement to the upside right now. We are kind of bouncing on it. And we'll take a look at let me see if I can maybe make this a little bit bigger for you guys, the chart here. We'll still have all the data. So if we look at the 4-hour chart here, we can see that it was bouncing off of that line here quite nicely here throughout the last couple of days. But we still have that potential of us falling down to the red line, which is the 200 weekly moving average, which is now at approximately 25,000, roughly 955 or so, give or take a little bit. That could be our next support line if this one doesn't hold here, the 50-day moving average, but we'll see where that one ends up at. RSI right now is at 42 on the 4-hour chart. If we look back just a little bit here, we can see that there isn't really any movement to the upside. I'm not seeing any kind of price appreciation and the RSI staying flat. So with that being said, I don't think there's going to be anything happening here, at least in the short term. I'm guessing we may fall a little bit more, I'm guessing. But we'll see if that happens or not, because I'm not seeing that any kind of a reversal right now in the charts on the RSI. And the 1-hour chart you can see here as well. We are at 51. Last time we were at 51 was right around here, and actually price was up a little bit higher than this, even though the RSI was up just a little bit also. So we're kind of right in that range right now, where I'm not seeing the price going up, RSI holding flat or going down, meaning we are in kind of this maybe accumulation phase a little bit here before we possibly have another step down a little bit here, because we have had the RSI come up, come down a little bit here, but it's still up a little bit. I'd like to see it come down to about 30 here, which would represent us going down to the 200 weekly moving average potentially on it. Okay, we can also see the same thing happening here on Ethereum. Ethereum was down also today, 1.06% to 1,842. And you can see that it has been also using the 50-day moving average kind of as a support line here. And that is the same thing for the 4-hour chart and the 1-hour chart that we can see here as well. It's been kind of hovering on it, sometimes dipping below it, but it's still maintaining it. You can see that the RSI is at 48 right now. Last time it was back here, and price at that point was a little bit higher as well. So that kind of leads me to think we might be falling down a little bit, but we'll see how that one's going to play out. Okay, so that's Bitcoin and Ethereum. Let's take a look at the miners here really quick as well, and we'll take a look at the stories that we do have. So ANY today was up just a little bit, 0.81% to 42 cents. Argo was down 5.9% to $1.36. And then we got Bit Digital was down 5.59% to $1.69. Bitfarms, thankfully, was actually able to stay above the $1 range here. It closed at $1.05, so it was up 0.96%. So with Bitfarms, there's two good news stories today. One with Argentina, and now with this one that they have regained, I believe, NASDAQ compliance for having their stock above $1 for 10 consecutive trading days. So that's good news for them there. Cypher was down 7.96% to $2.08. CleanSpark was down 3.36% to $3.74. Core Scientific was down 1.83% to 35 cents. DigiHost was down was up 3.12% to $1.65. DMG was down 1.71% to 22 cents. Greenidge was down 7.25% to 54 cents. High was down 2.48 to $3.15. Hot was down 1.18 to $1.67. Iris Energy was up 3.02% to 409. I'm sorry, Hot was down, so was Hive. I got too excited there a little bit. Marathon was down 0.45% to $8.89. Mawson was down 4.43% to $3.02. Riot was down 1.24% to $10.39. Soluna was down 10.88% to 24 cents. Stronghold was down 3.4% to 95 cents. And TerraWolf was down 1.38% to $1.43. So that's all the miners there. Let's take a look at the network hash rate, see what's going on with that one. Let's get this updated, and we can see that it's still at 345 million terahashes on the 7-day average. And on the 1-day average, we can see it's bouncing, and it's at 355 right now, million terahashes as it is. So we seem to have kind of plateaued here a little bit on the network hash rate. We'll see if more miners getting installed will spike it up higher. Marathon still has a lot to install, so does Riot, other ones as well. But it might be getting close to the point where a lot of the miners that we are covering now are getting close to being fully installed, or at least close to it. So that might put a cap on the network hash rate, increase a little bit at least for the portion that I cover. Okay, but we'll keep an eye on that one. All right, so that's it for that one. Let's take a look at the stories that we do have here, which is on Bitfarms. So Bitfarms receives permit to power up the 100 megawatt in Argentina. This is great news. We've been waiting for this to happen. There's a lot of turmoil happening in Argentina with inflation going crazy above 100%. So there's a lot of concern with them potentially being able to operate in that country. But it looks like since they are getting the power permit, that things are going to improve for them at least in the short term. But we'll have to keep an eye on Argentina as well as what happens there with their inflation and everything else, and what happens with the government going forward. Okay, so Bitfarms confirmed the receipt of necessary power permits to expand production up to 100 megawatts at its Rio Cuarto, Argentina facility. So like I said, this is great news. This is expected to initially double the active capacity to 18 megawatts and increase the company's operational hash rate to 5 exahash. The major milestone follows. So this is great. During the week of April 17th, they racked 2,110 new miners that were delivered earlier in March or April. So they have been getting miners in, so that's good. And on April 21st, the private power producer became fully permitted to provide up to 100 megawatts and enabling Bitfarms to commence purchasing low-cost power under its purchase agreement. Again, great news there. And then on April 23rd, Bitfarms finished testing of the Rio Cuarto substation, which is now online and capable of delivering 120 megawatts. Great news there again. So a lot of check marks here being done. By April 28th, Bitfarms expects to increase active capacity over 100% to 18 megawatts. So it looks like they were operating at about 9 megawatts, and they've been dialing down those miners a little bit. So energization of 2,100 additional miners that are racked and ready. So that's great. Ending the underclocking of existing miners in line with improved economics. So that's also great there. And then here's a comment from the CEO, Geoff Murphy. By energizing the 2,100 miners, additional miners, and ending our underclocking of existing miners, we expect to add 250 petahash, increasing our total hash rate to 5 exahash. So that's fantastic news there. With the power permit in place, we can now draw power under our contracted agreement, currently expected to be below 3 cents per kilowatt hour. That's very good actually, which is currently the lowest rate in Bitfarms' portfolio. So that's going to be a huge help for them going forward. As such, we expect the cost of BTC mined at this farm to substantially decrease as we actively scale up operations at the first warehouse. So normally you probably get price breaks. The more you have usage of electricity, the lower your price could possibly go, and it looks like this is what's going to be happening here as well. So that's great news there. And then with the 210 megawatts of potential low-cost energy capacity, our Argentina operations will increase Bitfarms' total production and should lower our total production costs while providing future expansion opportunities, which is also great news there and true. So I thought this was just great news. So great job to Argentina. To Bitfarms and their Argentina team getting this finally done. We've been waiting on this for quite a few months now, so this is fabulous news. All right, let me know what you guys think of this. I think this is great, and we'll move forward. All right, so let's take a look at some of the spreadsheets that we do have here. So as always, you guys know the spreadsheets are available to my Patreon members there. They get access to all these. Also, I've started providing the kind of printout of, or an image of these charts here that are through all of these here for the members of YouTube members. So you guys that are subscribed and paying, I think, $4 a month to be a member of the channel, I'm providing that to you guys as well now. So that's a perk that you guys are getting based on that. And then always the spreadsheets are available and everything else is available to my Patreon members there. Okay. So here's Argo blockchain. We'll just go through this really quickly. You guys know all the details. Stock price is $1.36. Current hash rate is at 2.5 exahash. Future hash rate 2.5 as well. They are fully installed right now. And then when we look at their Bitcoin production here, it's been kind of a roller coaster ride with them as far as that has been concerned, but it has been coming down here in the last couple of months, mainly because their hash rate increase has pretty much flatlined here in the last several months. So we can see that their best month was in August of last year, was 235. And then this year, you can see from January all the way down to March, it has been decreasing monthly production for BTC. And you can see the monthly difference here between the production rates. So they had a pretty nice increase here in June, but they had a pretty bad decrease here in December as well. They were down 51 and then up 21, down 6, and down 1 again in March. So their BTC HODL value right now is about 2.51% of their market cap. Market cap is 97.49% of their whole amount there. Future hash rate, they're fully installed right now, 2.5. BTC, they produced 161 BTC in March. BTC HODL is 85 in March, and they sold 177. So they've been selling more here as it is. And you can see here that the BTC HODL has been coming down ever since May of last year. They had about 2.4 thousand Bitcoins. Now they're down to 85 Bitcoins, and that number continues to go down, meaning that they are definitely selling more than they are producing, and that could be just to obviously fund operations and things like that. So that's not a good sign. If they continue going this way, they're going to be negative here in the next couple, I would say, what is that going to be? Possibly seven months. It seems like they're pulling about 15, 14 or so more Bitcoins per month than they generate in the last several months here. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one. And then BTC per exahash, we can see here that has also been coming down here. They're way below what the average is for these miners. The other miners are averaging about 80 some in the higher 80s right now. So they're below that. And we've talked about the BTC sold. Let's take a look at hash rate. You can see hash rate and revenue here. Hash rate has plateaued ever since August of last year. They've been stuck at 2.5 exahash since then. Not much changes there. They had a nice increase or ramp up in the beginning of the year of last year, but then it just plateaued. And then you can see monthly Bitcoin revenue here has also kind of come down a little bit and then up. The only benefit that they are having right now is BTC price going up in value. That's the only way that they are able to generate more revenue because of BTC appreciation. Okay, Bitcoin sold value, you can see here that they've been selling consistently here. They sold the most in July of 2022, followed by in September, then in October, and then it's kind of been right around the 3.7 million to 4.4 million, looks like somewhere between there in the last couple of months. Now, as far as revenue is concerned for the quarters, we don't have any Q3 or Q2 numbers for them because they haven't reported those yet. I would imagine those will be, I think they're supposed to release those this week or next week, I can't remember. But they're supposed to release that information, so we'll get this updated when that happens. But you can see here that the revenue has been coming down, and it is down here for potentially Q1 of this year as well, from where they were. Depending where they ended up in Q4, it might be an increase, but we just don't know right now. Then last 4 quarters, operating expenses. Operating expenses definitely peaked here in Q2. Once we get Q3 and Q4, we'll report on that. Other metrics here right now, we can see here, cost to mine 1 BTC definitely went way up here in Q2 to 40,000 roughly from 9.3. So they definitely put in a bunch of stuff in that one, I believe. And then Bitcoin mined quarterly, we do have that results based on what they reported monthly. So that has increased here in Q3 to 669, but then we had a decrease here in Q4 to 549 as well. So we'll see how Q1 comes in, and I think we can take a look at that down below here a little bit. Debt to equity has also increased. Lower is always better. Current ratio, higher is better. That's come down. And you can see here the total current assets at that time when Q1 was 217 million, Q2 was 170 million, then waiting on data for Q3 and Q4. But we can also see total current liabilities. We're coming down a little bit here in Q2 from Q1. So that was good there. And based on the current information that we do have for them, a lot of the data that I do have is an estimated because we don't have Q3 or Q4 numbers. So we are using kind of estimated numbers for some of this stuff. And the current quarter, we're looking at about 11.2 million in revenue. Last 3 quarters, 2 of those quarters are estimated, right? And then the third one is an actual reported one for Q2. That comes in at about 38.6. So total is about 49, 50% net income from gross revenue. Look at about 24.9 million. P of 10, we're looking at $3.56. Currently, they are at $5. Is that right? Argo $5? $36. I have to update that. That's going into the wrong one. So good catch there. That should be $1.36 here. Okay, still undervalued in my opinion, based on this number here. And we can see that analysts here have been putting them at, let's see here, where have they been putting it? $6.60, which is on my higher end here. That'd be more in line with the PE of possibly 15 on the low end. $6.60, maybe even higher than that. They're looking at about PE of 18, it looks like, between 18 and 19 on them. So that's kind of high for me. I think 10 is more doable because they aren't growing really that much right now. And there's no signs of them growing forward. But if that does happen, we can always raise the PE based on their growth. Okay, so that's it for them. Current assets, we covered that. We covered everything else. And their current quarter production, as far as that's concerned, that has been coming down here. Let's see here. That's for the current quarter that we just finished up in March. That's a total of 481. So that's actually going to be down from 549 here in Q4. So they are producing less and less Bitcoin because the network hash rate is going up. All right. So that's it for that one. Let me know what you guys thought of it, as always. And I'll comment back in the comments to you guys. Okay. So that's that one. Let's take a look at Bit Digital here really quick as well. And then we'll call it a day with those, and we'll go into the break-even portion of it all. So Bit Digital right now is at 1.2 exahash. Currently, future hash rate about 2.8. They still have quite a ways to go. We can see that their BTC mined has been also kind of like a roller coaster ride here, especially in the beginning of the year. They had a nice ramp up here in July, 242. August was 145. Then they peaked here in October, 152, and have continued to slide down a little bit here with nice little improvement here in March of 119. In March, I'm debating or not whether that BTC provided, the number provided to us, also includes some of the staking that they get from other coins. Then that's bumping them up a little bit here. But I haven't had any definitive answer on that yet, so I'm leaving it as it is. All right, now BTC value for them as far as HODL is 13.06% right now of the market cap, of their total market cap, which is market cap is 139 million right now. Hash rate left to install is about 1.5 exahash based on what we have for them. And then their future hash rate is supposed to be about 2.8 exahash. BTC mined last month was 119. They sold only 91, so they are selling less than what they mined, which is good. And their BTC HODL right now is about 725. Bitcoin is 724.8 as it is. Okay. Now we can see that their monthly BTC mine difference has been kind of up and down, has been negative here a lot of times as well, which is not good. And that's based on they could be turning off some of the older miners as well that are operational and trying to get new miners in. And they've been having a pretty hard time getting all of their miners situated into a hosting facility ever since, I think it was last year when they started to move, or was it 2021? I can't remember now. Might have been prior to that when they were trying to move out of China, when China banned all the Bitcoin mining. Okay, so that's maybe still an impacting them there. BTC HODL, you can see here that that has been coming up here through January of this year. And then they sold off quite a bit here in February, and well, more so in February than anything else than in March. But for the most part, they've been selling approximately like 115. They sold a little bit more here in November, 110, so 115 to 120 or so. Sold only 91 here in March right now. BTC per, should be BTC per exahash number here for them. They did actually really good here for them end of March at 95. Like I said, that's might be because they have also provided the staking portion of the Bitcoin that they got for it in there instead of just their own production numbers. But that's above average for all the miners that we cover. They're at the top end here. Okay, so that's that. Hash rate and revenue. Let's take a look at that really quick here. So hash rate, like I said, it has been bouncing kind of all over the place here, depending on what they provide us on a monthly updates. And their best month was in October with 1.36 exahash, or actually November was 1.37 exahash that they were mining. They are at 1.25 exahash right now. So you can see the monthly differences here. And we do have a couple months where they're down here, but for the most part, they have been going up a little bit here, and they should continue to the upward trend going into this year as well. This is for, this should be for the Bitcoin value, I believe. Let's take a look at which one's that one supposed to be. That one is what they actually made. So that's their revenue, Bitcoin revenue value. So what that one is supposed to be. Bitcoin monthly Bitcoin revenue. Okay. So that has been also up and down all over the place here. For the most part, their best month was, looks like August, 3.25 million. And then this past month, March, they're at 2.9, almost 3 million as well. So that has increased here a little bit for them as well. So that's good to see. But that's also a benefit of Bitcoin going up in value as well. Okay, so that's that one. And then you can see how much here they sold. BTC sold value. They've been selling approximately about right around 2.4 to 2.5 million on average here. They did sell quite a bit here, about 8.9 million in February. And that could be for newer miners, I believe, that they reported of buying. But March was also a much closer to where they were before. So I think this is just to pay their operating expenses as it is for them. Okay. Last 4 quarters we don't have. I don't think we have Q4 for them. Otherwise we'd be in here. So this is the last 3 quarters that we do have for Q1, Q2, and Q3. We can see the revenue has been increasing here, but we don't know for Q4 yet. And this is the current quarter estimate of 7.69 million. Last 4 quarters of operating costs, we only have 3 quarters, so that has been also going up as well. We'll see how that one plays out when we get Q4 numbers for them. And then other metrics here we can take a look at. Cost to mine 1 BTC has been coming down, so that is a good sign there for them. But like I said, we'll have to wait for Q4. The Bitcoin mine quarterly has been going up as well, so that's good there. But we're really need to see Q4 for them. And what else do we have here? Debt to equity, that has come down here quite nicely, so that's good here. And then current ratio has gone up, so that's good there as well. But we'll have to wait until Q4 results. Total current assets has come down, and that's based on Bitcoin value over that period of time. Total current liabilities has come down a little bit here as well. They don't have a lot of debt, which is good as well. And then analysts are looking at about $3 for the high to $2 for the low. They are currently at, I got to update this one as well because I forgot. They are up here, $1.69 right now. And that still gives me thinking that they are still a little bit undervalued right now, right? I have them at a P of 10 here with current potential revenue for the last 4 quarters of 31.8 million. 50% of that is 15.9. P of 10, we're looking at $1.93. And they're at $1.69 right now. So I still think that they are a little bit undervalued from where I think they should be really, ideally. But we'll see. So it's kind of close to where I'm looking. They're looking at $2 on the low end. It's kind of where I'm at right now with a P of 10. If we bring them up a little bit here to a P of 15, that would get us closer to the $3 range is kind of what they're looking at. Okay. I'm looking at P of 10 because their growth has been pretty slow here. And they are approximately, what are they at? Well, they still have 124% growth. So I could get them up to 15 PE on here because they do have still some growth left in them quite a bit. Okay. So that's it for Bit Digital. Let me know what you guys think of them as well. And that's it. We'll get into the break even. So this is kind of interesting here. I took a bunch of numbers from them from Q4, and I'll try to explain this as best I can. Things are pretty self-explanatory here in the rows and columns, but we got obviously starting the Bitcoin miners on the left-hand side, all of the different categories here on the top side. So we got stock price, we got market cap, shares. That's calculated based on the stock price divided by the market cap here, or market cap divided by the stock price. So we're getting the shares, BTC per market cap. So how much did they mine per month, I believe? Bitcoin mined on average, yeah. So that one's kind of, you can probably not use that number at all. I'm not going to even go over that one. Q4 expenses. So on this one here, I take all of their expenses except for depreciation or any goodwill. Everything else that they report, I try to keep it to their Bitcoin mining only as best I can on the numbers. And we also include in this the share-based compensation in here. So that's included as well as an expense for all these guys if they provide it. Other than that, this is just everything that's provided in quarterly results here. So if we click on this, we can see here for DMG, here's what we got for DMG. We got operation and maintenance costs, general and administrative, stock-based compensation, research and development, and we also have provision of doubtful accounts, but possibly, so I put that in there as well. Okay, so that's all included in there, and we do that for every single miner as well. Okay, then we convert it over to USD dollars from if it's Canadian or something else. We report it, so that's in this column here. Then we have monthly expenses, so we just take that divided by 3, and that's kind of what their monthly expense is to operate. We also take the average of the 3 months in that quarter of Bitcoin that were mined, so that's the average there. And we also will be able to figure out what their break-even BTC price is at that point. So we're taking the monthly expenses, dividing it by the BTC mined on average, and we get the dollar amount of what their break even is right now. And then I'm using also the average quarterly Bitcoin price for that period. So that's through October, November, December, what the average Bitcoin price was for that period. That's kind of the price we're looking there. We're looking to see if they're actually profitable or not. And this actually comes out pretty good here because DMG, I believe, was the only one that was profitable in the year 2022, which comes up to be here that they are profitable at 6.82% for that quarter, whereas everybody else was not profitable compared, based on the numbers that I do have here, okay? So then we got, we'll just look at these two columns here, break even and profit, and we'll go through all of these, and then we'll look at the charts here to kind of show it a little bit differently. But Bitfarms came in at, their break-even point was 21.1 thousand, and they're negative 13 in the whole percent. CleanSpark came in at 24,000 for their break-even price, and they're down 23%. Riot was 25,900, some for break-even, down 29 in profit. Iris was 27,600 roughly, down 33. Hive was down, Hive break-even was 28,600, down 36%. Hut was break-even 29.2 thousand, down 37%. Bit Digital was at 29.8 thousand break-even, 38% down. Bit Digital was 32.1 thousand, down 42.9. Break-even for Marathon was actually TeraWolf was 32,130. Bit Digital was 29. TeraWolf was 32. That's down 42%. Marathon was down break-even 37%. Can't think. Break-even for Marathon was 37.6 thousand, down 51%. Mawson was 44,000 break-even and down 58%. DigiHost was 63,000. That seems a lot there for them, down 71%. And Sphere 3D was 78,000. That's kind of more in line with what I would expect for them because they have been mining just so poorly here in that last year. So they're down 76% in profit from where their break-even point is probably. Okay, so here's how it all stacks up. You can see that DMG came in number one at 17,154,000 for a break-even BTC price. So they were profitable. Then everybody else here was basically not profitable during that time frame. Okay, and if we look at the percentages, you can see here as well how that all stacked up here for all of these, with DMG being number one, Sphere being last, and this was for Q4 numbers. So now I took the same numbers that we do have here if the numbers stayed the same as far as their expenses for the first quarter, but I updated the Bitcoins mined on average per month for them. I also updated the average quarterly Bitcoin price here for January, February, and March, what the average Bitcoin price was at that time frame. And then we got a little bit different results here. So it looks like a lot of the miners are starting to become more profitable as Bitcoin is starting to go up in value, okay? So here's what we got. We're doing the same thing, but we're just gonna look at it down here and compare it to Q4 numbers. So you can see here that now we got DMG is up a little bit here as far as their break-even point is. They're at 17.54 thousand compared to 17.15. And the main reason for that is because they're producing less Bitcoin as time goes on because the network hash rate increases, and that's what we're seeing there, okay? CleanSpark is at 19,650 roughly, where before they were at 21,000, so that's a good increase there. Riot is now down to $20,770 compared to 24.02K. TeraWolf is down to 22.79 compared to 25, almost 26. Bitfarms is down to 23.3, down from 27.63. The ones that are up a little bit here or down are more likely because they have been growing relatively nicely here as far as their hash rate is concerned. So that's helping them out because they're also potentially mining a little bit more Bitcoin as that time goes on. Next, we got Marathon. Marathon is down to 26.79 from 28. Sphere is down to 27.79 from 29. And then we got Hive is down 28.42 from 29.85. Bit Digital is up actually 35.18 from 32. So they have been mining a little bit less here, looks like. And then we got Iris Energy is also up a little bit here to 39.82 from 37.65. Their production has also went down from Q4 because they had to turn in a lot of the miners that they had at the beginning of Q4. Mawson was down to 40 from 44. Hut was down to 43 from 63, so that's good there. So they've kind of increased their production as well. And then DigiHost is down to 68.29 from 78,000. So when it looks at profitability-wise, you now have potentially DMG, CleanSpark, Riot and TeraWulf being profitable, whereas before they weren't. DMG was, but DMG's numbers have definitely improved here if their expenses stay the same. Now, expenses are going to be different because if they install more miners, those expenses should go up, but they should go up, in unison, or at least those types of expenses should go up, but everything else should stay the same. General and administrative should be the same, if not lower. They really got to get that under control. Share-based compensation should be coming down, hopefully, right? So those types of things here have an impact on it, but we want those to go down nonetheless. The only thing that should be going up is electricity and maybe some headcount on people as your operations grow. Okay, so we got DMG coming in first, CleanSpark in second spot, Riot in number 3 spot, then TeraWulf number 4 spot, then we got Bitfarms at number 5 spot, being actually negative here at 2.11% here. But as they ramp up their production with Argentina coming online now, I expect that to improve now going into as well Q2. All right, so we'll look at this again, but here's the way it shapes up. So Marathon's down 14.61%, Sphere's down 17.67%, Hive down 19.48%, Bit Digital down 34.97%, Iris down 42.54%, Mawson down 42.9%, Hut down 46.84%, and DigiHost down 66.5%. Like I said, this is based on Q4 numbers for their operations, expenses, and things like that. Doesn't mean that those are going to be the same here. We'll do this again when we get Q1 results. Hopefully in the next couple weeks, maybe 4 to 6 weeks, we should be getting those as well. Those will come in, and then we'll get these plugged in for Q1, and we'll look at them then, see how they compare. Okay, so that is it. Let me know what you guys think of this. This is kind of interesting to look at how the miners potentially are doing, and if they are negative, they really need to be working on their costs. Biggest costs are obviously overhead as far as employees, compensation, general administrative, and then if you're mining Bitcoin, you really shouldn't be spending money on research. You might have a little bit of research as far as immersion cooling, air cooling. That's easy enough research. You can probably figure that out doing calculations. You don't need to be spending money on that, or at least large amounts of money on that. Okay, but that's it. Let me know what you guys thought. All right, as always, spreadsheets available to my Patreon members. This I will also provide to the YouTube members, or at least a picture of it. You guys will get that sometime today. Hopefully I'll get this done. And that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. And I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, bye.